Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here at 6 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I was revved up to make this video at about 3 a.m. this morning. I started going through all my news feeds. I got about 4 other stories lined up today to talk to you guys about. One of them, supposedly, the liberals are now coming for pickup trucks. Your pickup trucks, not electric trucks, just pickup trucks. First it was the hamburgers, now it's the pickup trucks. I got so much to talk to you guys about, but okay, once again, I tell you guys, I go through my news feed and I go through all the conservative ones, and overwhelming amount of them were about whining and crying about censorship. Supposedly, the Biden White House being in contact with Facebook, flagging misinformation. Okay, let's start at the beginning here. I have to be very considerate and careful how I phrased a video about 3 videos back. My ex-girlfriend and friend, somebody I love dearly, is now in ICU. She had different political views than me. I can't believe it. I did not know the extent of misery that this virus brings to people, and like I said, out of respect for her, and I also lost another family member recently to that, and out of respect for them, I'm not going to talk more about it right now. But this is one of the big reasons I'm talking about this too. All right, so I want to talk about the misinformation and all these claims about censorship here. Obviously, I disagree. It is not censorship, and I'll explain to you why. So I go through all these conservative sites, and I come across Laura Ingraham, the Ingraham Angle, or whatever it's called. And wow. So she's the one out of 10 or 12 different conservative-leaning media sites complaining about censorship, because now they're being called out for their misinformation on the means to stop this virus. Like I said, I got to be careful with algorithms and whatnot and how I phrase these things. So Laura Ingraham, she starts off this video saying that the Biden White House is putting a stranglehold on all available information about the medication for this virus. All available information. That's not even close to true. Not even close to true. They're not censoring anything. I have Jen Psaki, the White House spokeswoman. I have her whole speech when she was talking about this. I have the whole thing on the links down below. She's talking about flagging misinformation, not removing it. But I want to talk a little bit more about that. One of the things that Laura Ingraham brought up, and you hear a lot of conservatives bring up, they go back to Dr. Fauci and how he flipped. Masks are good, masks aren't good. And I really gave that some thought. And then I thought that the root of a lot of this misinformation, this whole problem here, is a lack of knowledge about the scientific method. The scientific method. Now, this is 8th grade science. I'll have the links down below. It's literally 8th grade science. This is how all science works, not just conservative. There's no such thing as liberal science or conservative science or Trump science or anything. There's just science. This is how science works, the basis for discovery. All right, let's see if I can get this right. There's 7 steps. Identify the problem. Form a hypothesis, your idea, your reason why this is, what's causing it, whatever. Develop an experiment to prove your hypothesis. Perform the experiment. 5, analyze the results. Now, number 6, if your hypothesis was wrong, if you figured this wrong and the experiment proved you wrong, redo the experiment until you get it right, and then put out the results. 7 steps. Now, I started giving this some thought here. Now, it would seem like on Facebook and on a lot of all the other social platforms, the problem, there's 2 big problems I see out there. The first is that these people putting out this misinformation aren't using the scientific method, or they're only using 1 or 2 of the steps. They see the problem, they form a hypothesis, and then they go right to, well, this, my opinion, is fact. In this whole conservative world, like with the election being stolen and everything, my opinion means as much as your facts. And they seem to skip over those four different steps in the middle about actually proving it or redoing your experiment if your initial reasoning was wrong. Now, if Dr. Fauci didn't do this, if when the first virus first came out, and he came out and said, look, we know this, and this, and it's fact, and and nothing's going to change. We know everything we need to know. We know everything about it. We know how to stop it, and we know everything, and that's it. It kind of sounds like Trump, never admitting they're wrong. That would be something to be worried about. That would be something to be scared of. People admitting things changing as new data comes in, that is the scientific method. Your opinion, where you just go straight from a hypothesis, or what you read on 4chan, or from a 1989 sci-fi movie, that's not fact. It's not fact. Another big problem is a virus, I think it's a virus reporting website. It's open to the public. I'll have the link for that down below. It's VAERS. I can't remember exactly what it stands for. It's a reporting system. Basically, anybody can go on there. I could go on there and say, buffering made me grow purple hair, and it goes on there. They're looking for large correlations of reports, is what they're looking for. But anybody has, pretty much anybody can go on there and report anything. This is being abused by a lot of, or not a lot, actually, that's another point. A small group of people putting out misinformation, where they take this and they put it out as fact. For the life of me, I don't understand. These same people touted Trump's, warp speed vaccine, that he did such a great job. And then just on the news this morning, those same Trump supporters are saying they don't trust it now because it was too fast. So which is it? All right, let's get to this censorship part. I can't believe I have to explain this again. Okay, let's say, for instance, you guys know I'm a recovering addict. What if, let's just change things a little bit. What if I went on Facebook or whatever, and I started putting out misinformation about the substances I used to use? This stuff's great. Look at me. Look at my shit. Look at the shape I'm in. You should do these too. Imagine if you had somebody suffering from drug addiction in your family, or you'd lost somebody. And here I am on Facebook saying, nah, take it. Look at me. I'm fit. This is what it'll do for you. Give it a try. I can't imagine you'd feel good about that. You'd probably be screaming that somebody should shut me up. Before, that's another part of this too, that drug overdoses the same year as the pandemic, 2020, drug overdoses increased 30%, went up from 72,000 to 93,000, rough numbers. And suppose it's a good analogy, it's a good comparison. And I came on here and I started saying stuff like that could lead to more people, that would probably lead to more people harming themselves or worse. With freedom of speech comes responsibility. It's the Second Amendment with guns. Yeah, I grew up with guns. You have to be responsible. My father taught me how to hold a gun, treat all guns like they're loaded, never point a gun at a person. That's being responsible. That's taking your right to bear arms, and it's being responsible with it. And I think the same thing applies to the freedom of speech. It's a responsibility, being a big boy, not misusing your freedom of speech to harm or possibly harm or worse other people. That's what we're looking at here. For the life of me. And then Laura, so in this piece, I'll have the link down below. In this piece, she says that the whole reason that the Biden White House is doing this now isn't to help mainly Republicans, because it's 99.7% of the people now getting sick have not been vaccinated or are probably more than likely conservative Republican Trump supporters. So what we have here is basically the Biden White House trying to protect, help Republicans from getting sick. Laura Ingraham does not see it that way. This is amazing. This is how she spins it. She spins it as it's an attempt. Let me see if I can get this right, because it's so convoluted. It's hard to even understand. It's an attempt by the Biden White House and Democrats to get in tight with the media, the tech giants, in an attempt because they know they're going to lose the 2022 election. So this is an attempt to get in tight with them. And then, of course, Laura Ingraham goes on to compare this supposed censorship to then they're gonna censor what you say about climate control or guns or race or all this other stuff. So it's the same old scare tactics again. You know, we just went through a pandemic where we lost over 700,000 Americans. So, but it's not about that. No, it's about winning an election in 2022 supposedly. It doesn't even make sense. All right, now. So, what I can understand from this, the way the Biden White House is flagging misinformation, and I've seen that. I've seen them doing that on anything to do with COVID. I've had my, it's a simple thing where they put a link to information. How can that be a bad thing? Then there's the possibility that Facebook will remove this stuff. Now, let me use one more example here. Let's say I started a social media platform. Right? And one thing it seems these people forget is you sign a terms of use contract. We all do when we get on Facebook. Donald Trump did, I do. It's my company. You got to abide by my rules. If you don't like it, don't join. But you have to sign it. You have to go along with my rules. You can't just do anything. It's my business. You can't walk into my business and do whatever the hell you want. It's not how business works. Private enterprise. You'd think Republicans would understand this. And that's what we have here. So say I had a social platform dealing with recovery, and somebody came on there talking about substances and how people should use them. The opposite of my message. That'd be the opposite of my message. That drugs are bad. I'd have every right in the world to kick them off. It goes against the whole purpose of helping people, of me starting my business. That's what you see with Facebook. It's their right. It's a private business. They have the right. You sign the terms of use contract. If you're going against their rules, so they have every right in the world to kick you the hell off. It has nothing to do with your freedom of speech. You don't have the right to go into somebody else's business after you sign a contract saying you'll follow their rules and then do whatever the hell you want. Common sense. So everything. It's all nonsense. It's not censorship. It's flagging and providing accurate information through the scientific method. Things that are proven right so far, and they might change again. That's how science works. All right, I'll have the links all down below. I got so much more. I got 3 more videos I want to make today. You guys have a great Saturday. I will be back later.